Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are honored to have Jennifer Bouchard joining us here again, the owner of Nanny Poppins, LLC. Nanny Poppins Agency is serving so many clients and families nationwide with nannies domestic staffing since 1995. Welcome back today, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm great today. Thanks, Jill. How are you?
I'm doing well and excited that you're back here helping so many people, so many families. And go to nannypoppinsagency.com. Just before we get started, tell us a little overview about all the services that Nanny Poppins provides. I know it's a lot.
So we are a placement agency, like you said, since 1995, originally placing nannies in New England area, expanded out in 2007 to the tri-state area, which is huge for us, right where you are too, and now fully national. So clients from all over the country hiring us for things such as just a regular full or part-time nanny, live in or live out, to family assistants. You know, some of them wear more than one hat, household managers, housemen, estate managers, property managers, groundskeepers, chefs. Housekeepers are humongous. Housekeepers are like all over the news right now because everyone's looking for housekeepers. So any type of personal assistance, even executive assistance, whatever people are looking for their home, their lifestyle, or their family.
Beautiful.
And we've even placed often they even call us to help us with their businesses.
Amazing. And also want to point out you've been nominated as a professional of the year here. So thank you for this, Jennifer, all you've done and all your success with your company. And I know you have a special guest today to introduce us to. Who's this?
So the person that I asked to join me, because she's been one of those women that have worked for the agency since I believe 2014. That's when she originally came to us. And she worked as a nanny, and she's a household manager and done all of that for various families, both live in and live out in different areas of the country. And then we also have brought her on over the past few years working in the agency. And so she does work with all of our new recruits, the placement specialists, training them, onboarding them. She's an amazing voice for the agency. Whenever there's a conflict, like a client or a situation, she's always great at having everything organized and documented so that, we have all of our ducks in a row and we stay organized. So she does like a lot of different things for the agency, and she'll be able to explain that to you. But she's a fantastic person that knows a ton about the industry. I mean, I've had the opportunity to work very closely with her over many years. She even babysat for my youngest son one time, or twice actually, and he actually absolutely adored her. I've actually traveled to Nashville where we have to meet. She actually met our mutual friend at lunch. We had lunch with her. So she's come on business trips with me and stuff. So I think Emily would be a great person that can speak for being a nanny, household manager, and also working with the clientele and the candidates and the people who make these placements in this industry that people often take for granted how much work it is.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. And welcome, Emily. So first and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my gosh, I'm so touched by Jennifer's introduction.
I know, it's beautiful.
She covered it all. I'm originally from Beverly, Massachusetts, very close to where the company was founded in Marblehead. And my family moved to South Carolina when I was young. So I was raised in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And I've just always been I started as a mother's helper when I was maybe 12 or 13 for a mom on the same cul-de-sac. And I've just been babysitting and been a nanny since then. It just kind of clicked. I've done other jobs here and there. I just always end up back in childcare. I was a nanny through college as well. And I met Jennifer after I moved back up to Boston after I finished college.
Awesome.
And tell her I'm sorry. Tell her what you studied in college.
Oh, so I studied psychology and I had a concentration in child development.
Beautiful.
And then, my minor was art studio, but my concentration was photography. So I'm currently working on my master's in art therapy. I truly enjoy working with kids. I just don't know if I want to be in the nanny world anymore. I think I've seen it all. I've done it all. I'm all
Yeah.
set.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And you love kids. And then here you are to meet Jennifer.
I
You
do.
actually were working with her youngest kid at the time and other kids. And now you moved on to more of a management position, right? So tell me some of the things that you
Yes.
do on a daily basis that's helpful for our listeners to get to know really what goes on behind the scenes of, hiring someone that's, well credentialed and well rounded to work with a family.
Yeah, so it's funny. I'm, part of the management support team with the agency now, and it's actually on some days very similar to being a nanny. You are responsible for all these people that have to produce and present urgently. We have clients that are very busy. So day to day, as far as what my role is, as Jennifer said, I do a lot of the onboarding. Jennifer and I have collaborated and I've executed, I'd say, a majority of the company literature. The welcome packet, our onboarding materials, any forms we have that get sent out for various reasons. So I talk to all the recruiters on a daily basis. I've also started, just for myself, to get my brain back into recruiting so I can continue to onboard better. I've recruited in the past, and I've started recruiting candidates again. And that means that we receive resumes and we screen them. If that goes well, if they're kind of just qualified to do any sort of domestic job, we'll move on to an interview. We put their file together with references that we do ourselves over the phone, question and answer format.
Okay.
We do that in-house. We also will include, of course, their updated resume. We can assist them with that, updating it. Domestic staff members, when you think about somebody in the corporate world, they're going to be paying several $100s to get their resume done. They are so used to having resumes and admin and computer. Domestic staffing isn't always like that. With technology and everything, of course, house managers and nannies have had to adapt. But for the most part, many candidates that we work with, they have found, like myself, a lot of work through word of mouth, Facebook mom groups. So they're not necessarily used to the way we do things. So we, help them as far as educate them on the industry. We advocate for them. We can help them negotiate. We present them to clients, and we make ourselves available for all the transaction and communication that goes on between the two.
Wow.
And also what Emily's really good at also, Jill, is she's really good at being how I'm just for myself, I want to get to know every angle of the candidate.
Yep.
We want to get to know them professionally, academically, as well as personally. And Emily is not afraid to ask the questions and really dig in and get to know the candidates so that we have connected with them. They are comfortable coming to us, and that we can ensure, as best that we possibly can, that we're not sending out the wrong candidate to a family because of their ability to commit, or something that just won't be a good personality kind of chemistry fit. She's amazing at getting all the answers. And when she checks the references, it's amazing because she gets so much detail on these candidates. So it's almost when the clients read them, they know, it just jumps off the page, everything about these candidates.
Got it. This is amazing.
Yes.
I love it. Now, by the way, just curious, what do you love most about, working with Jennifer, the whole team at Nanny Poppins? What do you like the best?
Something that I personally like, I've always felt safer and more heard in spaces with females. And so we are women owned and women operated. This is obviously as well a female dominated industry. Most of your nannies, housekeepers are typically going to be females. We've seen a huge rise in nannies recently, a male nanny. But I truly love working with accomplished women. That's what's inspiring to me. I was raised by a single mother. And so just seeing women have to continue to push through obstacles that I know men would not have to is inspiring on a regular basis. I love working with clients as well that are, powerful females. That's really inspiring. I love being able to be in an industry that I feel like I know it like the back of my hand. I feel like I know it as well as my hometown. You know what I mean? It's everything that comes out of my mouth. I learned from Jennifer. I tell that to everyone. She's truly a resource. And so I feel like I've enjoyed learning so much from her. Everything I know, I've learned from Jennifer. She completely has truly changed my life. It's been a huge part of my life. Yeah.
Oh, how sweet. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
Don't you wish you would stay forever?
It's interesting how she's talking about the obstacles, because it does happen where, and I like men. Men are great, and most of the men we work with are fantastic. We have seen an increasing rise, not only in nannies and other roles that we place. Well, we're talking about nannies a lot, but like they've been increasing since when I started. In 1995, I mostly would talk to the moms or their assistants. Now we're talking to a lot of dads, or the dad will come in at the end. So there, and just different like vendors, people that we do business with. Sometimes they will try to like push us around a little bit, and I don't know. It sometimes feels like maybe because they think we are women, or they don't. And so that could be wrong, but could be right sometimes. But the thing about Emily, she always has, like, you could put Emily against anyone and she would just like be able to defend the position, and it's always ethical. We don't do anything unethical. So we're always right. But anyway, like when we do exactly what we're saying we're going to do, and if not more. And so Emily is the one I go to, and I'm like, all right, I need to get this organized, because we have a bully on the phone.
Well, also at this time, let me just remind everyone how we can reach you. Could you share the website, phone number, all forms of contact as well, Jennifer?
So our main number, the corporate line, because we are national, we can fill your job or get you a placement anywhere in the country. It's 888-849-6090. And the website is www.nannypoppinsagency.com. So nannypoppinsagency.com.
Perfect. Thanks so much. And Emily, let me ask, you really have to get to know people, and you also have to be honest with people, right? If they're a good fit, they're not. How do you, kindly say to someone, maybe they're not the right fit for the job that they want, without hurting their feelings? How does that work?
Yes.
So, is there room for improvement? Is there any courses that you offer, anything like that to help someone get that spot that they want?
There's definitely always room for improvement. I've been in childcare for, I guess, 20 years now, if I'm starting when I was 13. So there's always room for improvement. I always recommend some things I've done that were recommended to me by Jennifer. Of course, like, CPR, first aid, water safety. We always recommend getting first aid and CPR, and making sure that it's for infants, pediatric, and adult. A lot of people just get adult. It's a totally different maneuver for infants and children, and infants are different than children as well. So I highly recommend getting that. Water safety courses are also taught through the American Red Cross. They do a babysitting course as well. The other thing I always recommended, Jennifer told me this once, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what a great idea. Yeah. And I don't know how it works now since the pandemic, but one thing I did a couple times was volunteer in the NICU and just hold babies whose parents are not able to be there because they had to go back to work. Babies that are there, long term for the first weeks or couple months of their life. So I used to go and do that and just sit with the babies. And so I was able to put that on my resume. And it's something I truly enjoyed doing. It was very simple to do, but families do love seeing that. So there's lots of little ways to make yourself stand out besides something as extreme as like a college degree. There's tons of courses.
A lot of them too, they are educated. And if they've gotten, most of the people that come into this industry have gone to school for some human, like, whether if it's not child development or child education, then it could be, because there's no licensing for a nanny. Because it's not a formal, you work for the family. This agency is licensed by the Department of Labor, but it's not for childcare. Like the family picks the nanny. But there are some like courses that are not accredited that they could take. But a lot of times when they've gone to school for psychology, they've volunteered, they've done internships, or like sometimes we'll place therapeutic nannies that have worked in a therapeutic setting, and so all of their training we do highlight for each specific position, depending on especially what the criteria is for the position. But I think being very, like you say, Jill, diplomatically polite, because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. And like a lot of times, people have their own reasons. It may not reflect on the person for not wanting to make an offer to a specific candidate. So
we also help with advice for candidates that maybe want to be a nanny, but don't really know how to get started. Obviously, most of our clients, prefer to have candidates with in-home private care experience. So that being said, many clients are open to moms, teachers, daycare workers, which we always suggest those are people that have incredible levels of experience, especially daycare teacher, because they're watching a room full of kids. And, they have to keep a routine and they have to help them meet developmental goals. So I always say the easiest thing you can do if you have no experience outside of maybe watching a family member, ask neighbors and friends if you can babysit once a week and come back to me in a year. And then you have a year long-term date night reference right there. Go to your local church. Do they have services that they ask people to volunteer and watch kids? There's lots of different ways that within a year
they can get a job online. The people aren't going to be, the people that hire the agency are looking for, they're thinking ahead of things. Like I learned from the clients what they're looking for. And then we learn from each criteria. We do get a lot of positions that are like, can they speak Italian, Hebrew?
Yes, language.
A lot of French, Spanish,
German.
Mandarin. Even though we're from this country, we don't place cultural exchange. But we do get a lot. They'll give us their criteria. Right now, we have a job opening for a Montessori, a nanny with a Montessori background. So that's tough because those Montessori, they love Montessori. It's hard to find them. So we're listing it as a nanny, and then we're listing it another time as a Montessori teacher/nanny to get more applicants.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, let me ask, again, I just want to point out everything from not just nannies, you mentioned groundskeeper, chefs, we're talking assistants even, right? Also dog walkers I saw on the list as well, managers, family managers, and family assistants. So there's a lot of different positions that need filling. And of course, you got to find those experienced people with credentials. And, you've been doing this for so many years, Jennifer. Can I ask you how, since the pandemic, can I say, how has child care changed? Are we ready? Are we back in full effect? Everyone's back in the swing?
I feel like, right, well, I know that the first 5 months when it happened, it was like we had one job order, one. And it was time when we started to scale. We started to work on a new business plan and grow. And that was obviously successful with our mutual friend. And but after the pandemic ended and the vaccines came out, not before, when the vaccine started coming out and in the summertime after it started, I turned this off. So after it started in the summertime, all of a sudden it was like everybody under the sun was calling us from all over the country. So that was that was probably our busiest year. Was right after the pandemic ended because so many people had furloughed their people that were working in their home, whether it was a nanny, a housekeeper, or whatever it was. And then now I feel like we're back to more of the typical ebb and flow of when people are busy. I'm trying to shut that off.
That's okay.
But I think the way it's changed, I don't feel like it's, I don't know, Emily, do you disagree? You said yesterday that you feel like it's changed things.
Well, as far as infants now, many clients are still, because of RSV, are really still serious about the COVID vaccination and other vaccinations. Mm-hmm. And of course, candidates don't have to be vaccinated to work with us, but some clients might require that within their private home, and that's fine. But other than that, I think it's kind of returned to normal. I think the biggest changes we dealt with in, I would say 2021. By 2022, things were getting back to normal. 2021, very heavy on vaccination requests, very heavy on how many people do you live with? What do they do for work? Who are they seeing every day? We had a lot more live-in requests because people were like, well, we can just all quarantine together. Sure. I was actually a live-in nanny at the beginning of the pandemic, and it completely changed my job. And I ended up being laid off. In a conversation, I kind of said, I think it's time for me to go. And they said, I think we agree. So it worked out for the best because I essentially became like a mom and stay at home teacher. Yeah. It was all day long and it was crazy and there was nowhere to take the kids. I was just outside of DC at the time. DC had very strict lockdown preventions and restrictions, and they lasted for a while. So even the public park, we weren't allowed to use for a long time. So it was tough. I didn't realize how much I relied on play dates and play places and parks and activities. I'm a very active nanny with the kids. I want to get them out. So that was difficult for me. That was kind of, so I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because what if
nannies just become so attached to the kids that they'll almost go through anything with these families, even if it's torturing them, in order to be with these children, so that the children don't have that loss when the nanny leaves. They really love these children, and they take on it's such an it's an emotional job when you're really into it. And the particular, we're not going to name anyone, but they were going through a divorce at the time in the same house. And that's the thing where people don't realize, the nanny is immersed in the family. And obviously if everything's going smooth and there's a lot of boundaries, you're not involved in that. But in a time like the pandemic, or even in just a tumultuous time in a family's life, which is normal course for many families, at least half of them, right, in the country.
True. Yeah.
The nannies do get involved and have to, or get put involved. They get stuck in the middle between if something's going wrong with the parental dynamic. So she does have firsthand experience with how hard it is for a nanny emotionally trying to protect themselves and the children and navigate the household.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, we just have 4 more minutes left in the show. I want to make sure, Jennifer, we're covering everything that's important to you. And Emily, today, what else did you want people to know about the agency and, whether it's the way you're screening your candidates, the way you're hiring the right candidates, the way you're servicing so many people? I mean, this is nationwide. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It's nationwide, but the families, most people, it's very rare that we see something that we haven't seen before. We will help whoever needs help. As long as they're credible, they're going to treat their person well. We help people, no one should hesitate to call. If, God forbid, it's just a regular position, but if somebody's going through a family crisis, or someone's passed away, or someone's having surgery, whatever it is, if you just don't hesitate to call, because we can help you. And like she said, about people, who do they live with, and that dynamic, that's part of just, for me, getting to know a candidate. I want to know what their life is like and how it's going to fit with the family, and vice versa.
Got it. All right. Well, let's remind everyone how we can reach out to you if we're interested on either side, right? Being, someone that is in need of a service, right? Or someone who would like to be that person. So tell us how we can reach you both.
Yeah, you can reach at 888-849-6090. And the office email is info at nannypoppinsagency.com. Again, the website is nannypoppinsagency.com. And it is really amazing. And it's a privilege to be able to be here, and a privilege to be able to help all these families. And when we do talk to the families on the phone and the candidates after, and we hear that it's changed their life in such a positive way, and that people are enjoying their lives more and not having to struggle on the weekends to get things done, or rush around and miss work because they can't go to one thing, or that the nanny goes to occupational therapy and is able to properly convey all the information back to the parents, and it's a real change for their life. That's a privilege for us, and we're grateful to be able to have that and to do it for them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Ladies, pleasure having you here, and excited that you were back on this journey together. Jennifer, nannypoppinsagency.com. Emily, it's been a pleasure getting to know you as well.
Thank you, Jill.
I guess we will be back in touch again next week. Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Yeah, see you next week, Jill. Have
a great week. Sounds good. Enjoy your week. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, everybody.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Can I touch this? Where does sand come from? Is this tree good for climbing? What happens if I mix these two things together? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Storing your guns securely is the best way to prevent family fire. including unintentional shootings. For more information on safe gun storage and ways to keep your family safe, visit endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org.
What do we keep in the attic? What's this thing called? Can I ride my bike backwards?
Like I said, kids are curious. It's up to us to keep them safe. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.